in a world that constantly equates wealth with noise, logos, and visible luxury. There exists a different kind of affluence that rarely trends on social media and almost never announces itself at a dinner party. The quiet millionaire does not fit the stereotype popularized by movies like The Wolf of Wall Street or flashy celebrity culture associated with figures like Kim Kardashian. Instead, this person moves through life with a kind of understated confidence, blending into everyday environments while quietly sitting on substantial financial security. Spotting a quiet millionaire isn't about looking for gold watches or sports cars. It's about noticing subtle behavioral patterns, mindset clues, and lifestyle choices that reveal long-term wealth built with intention rather than spectacle. The first subtle sign is comfort without display. A quiet millionaire is deeply comfortable in their own skin. They don't feel compelled to prove their success through designer labels or you might see them wearing simple, well-made clothing that fits perfectly but carries no obvious branding. Their shoes may be high quality, but not flashy. Their watch may be classic rather than diamond. This quiet confidence often comes from years of financial discipline and a secure net worth that doesn't need validation. They understand that wealth is a tool, not a costume. Another subtle indicator is their relationship with time. Quiet millionaires guard their time carefully. They are rarely rushed, rarely frantic, and rarely glued to notifications. Their schedule tends to reflect intentional living. They may decline meetings that don't align with their priorities. They are comfortable saying no. Because financial security buys flexibility, they often structure their lives around autonomy rather than obligation. You might notice they take long walks during business hours or travel midweek instead of weekends. This control over time is often a byproduct of investments, business ownership, or passive income streams, quietly working in the background. Third, pay attention to how they talk about money. Quiet millionaires rarely discuss exact numbers unless necessary. They don't boast about investments, and they don't complain excessively about expenses. Their language around money is calm and practical. Instead of saying, "That's too expensive," they might say, "That's not worth it." This subtle shift reveals a mindset focused on value rather than price. They think in terms of return, efficiency, and long-term impact. They may reference index funds, real estate, or diversified portfolios in passing, but never in a way designed to impress. The fourth sign is consistency in their habits. Wealth built quietly is often the result of boring, repeated actions over many years. Regular investing, conservative spending, strategic reinvestment. A quiet millionaire's daily routine might look surprisingly ordinary. They may drive a reliable car for a decade or live in the same neighborhood long after they could afford something more extravagant. Books on their shelves might include titles like The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley, which famously documented how many millionaires live far below their means. This philosophy resonates deeply with quiet wealth builders. Another subtle clue lies in how they handle financial conversations in group settings. When friends debate stocks or speculate about quick gains, the quiet millionaire often listens more than they speak. If they contribute, their comments tend to be measured and rooted in long-term thinking. They might gently caution against emotional investing or hype-driven decisions. They rarely chase trends. Whether it's cryptocurrency surges or meme stocks, reminiscent of headlines from GameStop trading frenzies, they maintain a disciplined approach. Sixth, observe their generosity. Quiet millionaires often give thoughtfully, not publicly. They may fund scholarships, support local initiatives, or quietly cover someone's emergency expense without broadcasting it. Unlike high-profile philanthropists, such as Bill Gates, whose large-scale donations are widely reported, quiet millionaires operate under the radar. Their giving is personal and values-driven rather than image-driven. They don't attach conditions that center attention on themselves. Another subtle sign is their lack of financial anxiety and minor inconveniences. If a bill is slightly higher than expected, or a flight change requires an extra fee, they handle it calmly. This composure stems from margin. They have buffers, emergency funds, diversified income, and assets working behind the scenes create emotional stability. Financial stress doesn't dictate their mood because their foundational planning absorbed most foreseeable shocks. The eighth clue appears in their purchasing behavior. Quiet millionaires tend to research extensively before major purchases. They compare options, negotiate thoughtfully, and prioritize durability. Whether buying property or electronics, They look at total cost of ownership rather than sticker price alone. They might drive a practical vehicle instead of something like a Ferrari you'd see in a franchise such as Fast and Furious. The choice isn't about inability. It's about alignment with values. Ninth, look at their social circle. Quiet millionaires often surround themselves with people who discuss ideas rather than possessions. Conversations gravitate toward books, travel experiences, business strategies, or personal growth. Status signaling is minimal. They don't compete over who has the newest gadget. In fact, their closest relationships might predate their wealth entirely, which keeps them grounded and reduces the temptation to perform success. 10th, notice their emotional detachment from status symbols. They might appreciate quality, but feel no need to upgrade constantly. A phone works until it doesn't. Furniture is replaced when necessary, not seasonally. There is an internal metric guiding decisions rather than social comparison. This mindset protects long-term capital growth because spending is purposeful, not reactive. 11th, observe how they handle opportunities. Quiet millionaires evaluate deals carefully. They ask detailed questions. They review contracts thoroughly. They rarely rush into partnerships without due diligence. Years of managing assets cultivate patience. They understand that wealth preservation is as important as wealth accumulation. This patience often differentiates sustainable millionaires from those who rise quickly and fall just as fast. 12th, perhaps the most powerful sign is their peace. Quiet millionaires often exude a calm, steady presence. They are not desperate for validation. They do not panic at market volatility. They don't need constant affirmation of their success. Their security is internal and financial. This peace radiates subtly in how they speak, how they listen, and how they carry themselves. Now imagine you're at a neighborhood barbecue. There's someone refilling drinks, laughing easily, wearing simple clothes, and driving a modest SUV. Nothing about them screams wealth. Yet they leave early because they have an early morning flight for a weekday getaway. They don't mention that the flight is first class. They don't mention that their home is fully paid off or that their investment portfolio quietly generates more annually than most people earn from their jobs. That is, the quiet millionaire. These individuals often build wealth through ordinary careers. Engineers, accountants, small business owners, medical professionals, or long-term corporate employees who steadily invested in diversified portfolios. They didn't necessarily invent the next social media platform like Mark Zuckerberg, nor did they seek venture capital headlines. Instead, they maximized retirement accounts, invested in index funds, reinvested dividends, and allowed compound interest to work over decades. Their homes often reflect practicality. The property may be in a stable neighborhood rather than a flashy zip code. Renovations focus on functionality rather than trends. Kitchens are updated for efficiency. Yards are maintained but not extravagant. There's a sense of permanence rather than showmanship. They understand that a home is both a lifestyle choice and a financial asset. Career-wise, quiet millionaires often demonstrate high competence without theatrical ambition. They become trusted experts in their fields. They negotiate salaries strategically. They may own equity stakes in businesses rather than chase titles. Their LinkedIn profile might look respectable, but not ostentatious. Their wealth often accumulates invisibly through stock options, profit sharing, or long-term investments. Another behavior to watch for is delayed gratification. Quiet millionaires are comfortable waiting. They postpone upgrades. They allow investments to mature. They think in decades. When others chase immediate rewards, they evaluate long-term trade-offs. This patience is often developed early in life and reinforced through financial literacy. They also tend to avoid lifestyle inflation. When income increases, expenses don't rise proportionally. Raises translate into investments rather than luxury purchases. Bonuses might go directly into brokerage accounts or real estate down payments. This gap between income and spending widens over time, accelerating net worth growth without drawing attention. Importantly, quiet millionaires understand risk, but respect it. They diversify. They insure appropriately. They plan estates carefully. They draft wills and trusts, not to showcase wealth, but to protect family continuity. They consult advisors discreetly and review plans annually. Their financial ecosystem is organized and resilient. There's also a subtle humility in how they discuss success. They often attribute achievements to luck, mentors, or teamwork. This isn't false modesty, it's perspective. They know markets fluctuate, industries shift, and fortunes can reverse. That awareness fosters gratitude rather than arrogance. When dining out, quiet millionaires may split the bill evenly without fuss or occasionally pick it up without announcement. They tip generously but discreetly. They don't photograph the meal to signal if their enjoyment is experiential rather than performative. Travel patterns also reveal subtle clues. They may travel frequently but off-peak. They value comfort but not spectacle. Lounge access, flexible tickets, and efficient itineraries matter more than posting exotic locations. They prioritize convenience because time has become their most valuable asset. Another indicator lies in how they approach learning. Quiet millionaires continue educating themselves about markets, technology, and global trends. They read financial reports. They listen to long-form interviews. They attend conferences selectively. Their curiosity sustains their wealth because they adapt without overreacting. Family dynamics often reflect stability. Children are taught financial literacy early. Allowances may be tied to responsibility. College funds are funded steadily. Discussions about money are pragmatic rather than taboo. The next generation learns stewardship, not entitlement. In social conflicts, quiet millionaires rarely escalate arguments over trivial costs. They choose battles wisely. Financial security reduces ego-driven disputes. They value relationships more than minor savings, yet they remain disciplined about significant expenditures. They also maintain privacy. Net worth figures are rarely shared outside trusted circles. They avoid oversharing on social platforms. Their digital footprint appears normal. You wouldn't guess their balance sheets by scrolling their profiles. Ultimately, spotting a quiet millionaire requires attention to patterns rather than possessions. It's about recognizing discipline.com, intentionality, and value-driven decisions. It's understanding that true wealth often whispers instead of shouts. In a culture captivated by visible success, the quiet millionaire proves that financial freedom doesn't need an audience. It simply needs patience, consistency, and the confidence to let results speak in silence.